Hello everyone, welcome to the market update. My name is Kay Kim with the Traders Club. Today is September 20th, 2016, Tuesday. Market's been closed for about an hour and a half here. So market continues to grind here. So let's look at the market. And we're primarily going to look at the S&P 500 index, Dow Jones Industrial Average, Nasdaq. If we have time, we'll look at the Russell as well. So let's see what we can find out looking at the current price action. As you can see, we're looking at S&P 500 index on the daily chart here, meaning each candles represent 1 day worth of data. And what we're seeing here is that what we need to focus on right now, as far as a minor term is concerned, we're looking at 10-day moving average. This is 10-day exponential moving average, right? You can see that 10-day moving average is sloping down. We also have a 20-day exponential moving average sloping down as well. So once you see these moving averages start to slope down like this, we could conclude that the market sentiment in the minor term is bearish. So when you see these moving averages are sloping down like that, this is a reason why many times market trying to bounce. You can see these long green candles, and there are a lot of buyers wanted to really bring this thing back up, but the minor term sellers continues to show up and sell these spikes. And so that's why, looking at shorter term perspective, as long as we're dealing with 10 and 20-day moving average declining, the sentiment will be bearish and the volatility will continue, meaning the benefit of that goes to sellers in the minor term. And just so you know that when they flip back above that, just give you guys a quick example. Let's say this is a bracket here. We came down, we started trading below 10 and 20 MA, and then we saw that very, very fast move to the upside. We pull back, and once we pull back, we retest that 10 and 20. Do you see that? So then that 10 and 20 is no longer declining. It flipped back, and it is now rising, right? So once you see a rising 10 and 20 MA, that means the benefit of the Dow goes to buyers in the minor term. And as you can see, this is precisely what happened back in late July. All the way through the August, where it kept just staying above that 10 EMA and just been really, really grinding, but it just kept staying above it until we finally lost that 10 and 20 EMA with that island reversal I talked about a few videos ago, right? So this is kind of precisely what's happening in an inverse way. Before, when we were dealing with rising 10 and 20, you can see that market is grinding, but it's staying above these moving averages, though they were, sell-offs here and there, but you see how the buyers kept coming in, buying this thing back up until we saw kind of a big move to the downside. So kind of like if you're looking for this market to thrive back up, you want to see this 10, 20, and these moving averages start, flattening out, and then maybe you'll see the price action started kind of going up here, pulling back, retesting that area, and then continuing higher. And then in that process, you will see that 10 and 20 starts to slope upwards. And once we see that, then you can say that the minor term benefit of the Dow goes to buyers. But for now, benefit of the Dow goes to sellers in the minor term. But I do have to say that because we have been finding support on the 100-day moving average, that's a 100-day simple moving average, also known as 100 SMA. As long as we stay above this level, as long as we stay above 2120, I would have to say that the intermediate term perspective is benefit of the Dow goes to buyers. Again, I'm talking different terms here. The minor term, you can see we got these sellers. We got these pops, but you can see that there's a lot of sellers in this vicinity, where then price starts to decline back down. So at this point, if we are not able to, I think the recent resistance will be right about here at 2150. 2150. You know what? Let me put the resistance line, pivot line there. So you can 2150, I would look at this level as a current resistance. And if we're not able to break above 2150 in the next couple days or this week, then probably there's a good chance that this could continue lower. Looking at a more of a kind of an overall perspective and looking at a more of a chart pattern here, it does look like we might be working with some kind of a bear pennant or bear flag type of pattern. That means we get the flush down and then we kind of slightly move higher, which is inverted flag pattern. So it's a bear flag and then continue lower. That would be classical technical analysis. But at this point though, the micro term buyers would also argue that, hey, doesn't this look like a bull flag? Do you see this? Okay, so there are many ways to look at this. So you can see this, if you look at it this way, it does look like we are dealing with bear pennant there, or bear flag for another lower to about 2100. But if we look at more of a micro term, it kind of does look like we have this move and then we got this bull flag going on in the micro term, like very, very short term, just looking at this week. So this will be the argument of, okay, which way is it? At this point, I think is pretty much we'll have to wait and see how it's going to play out. Because I think if we break out of this, you see the last 3 days here, that will be a classic, that will be a textbook bull pennant. And if we break out of bull pennant, there's a good chance it will get up to about 2168, even filling gap at 2180. And in that process, you'll probably see these moving averages start going like that. It might even go up a little bit, pull back, hit that 1020 MA, and then get above that level while the 1020 MA is starting to sloping back up. And it will probably it will have some time to have these moving averages start to flattening out. So if this thing start to break, you will see these moving averages start flattening out, and if it still continues higher, then these moving averages will follow that price action. And at that point, the minor term sentiment will shift to bullish sentiment. If we able to break out of this this week's bullish bull pennant, bull flag type of pattern. But again, looking at last 2 weeks though, I'm just reminding you guys, it does look like a bear pennant, right? Bear flag. So which one is it? Bull flag or bear flag? We don't know at this point. We don't know. So right now we're dealing with these four important price level area. This is 2150's current resistance. 2120 is it has been strong support last week. So those two are sandwiched between these two price level here. Anywhere above this level, there's a good chance we'll get to about 2180. Anywhere below this level, we'll get to about 2100. So that's the sentiment we're looking at here. Obviously, looking at a primary term, big picture perspective, we're still dealing with primary term uptrend sentiment, bullish sentiment. There are plenty of videos out there that I've done long-term market analysis on my YouTube and blog. You can check that out. But right now, I'm just kind of giving you guys perspective of what happened this week and today, and what might be possibly happening next few days and early next week. Quickly, let's go to Dow Jones Industrial Average. Looking at Dow Jones Industrial Average here, pretty similar sentiment here. Let me just kind of move this just right about here, and I'm gonna move that right there. So I'm gonna do that. So Dow Jones Industrial Average, obviously, looking at a big picture, we are retesting this vicinity. This was the old resistance. That is a technical analysis 101. This is a classical technical analysis. Old resistance becoming new support, and that's kind of what we're seeing here. If we actually if I actually zoom out a little bit, this also kind of looks like primary term uptrend support vicinity. We don't know if that level is gonna act as support, and we're gonna bounce from it at this point. So looking at Dow Jones Industrial Average, maybe this is a reason why, because of Dow Jones is kind of hanging out at this rising uptrend support level, that the other indices are kind of lagging in this vicinity as well. Because when we look at S&P 500 index, we're actually quite not at that support area. You can see we're just slightly above that. But Dow Jones Industrial Average, we're hitting that support level here this week and staying above the 100 SMA there, kind of below 10 EMA, 50 EMA. So it is also sandwiched between. We do have a similar pattern where we have this bear flag, bear pennant type of pattern there. So I think at this point though, important level for Dow Jones is 18,256. Anywhere above that vicinity, I think there's a good chance you'll get to about 18,351 or so. And then if he continues higher, probably even fill this gap in that vicinity. Again, remember that 10-20 MA moving average we just talked about on this video. So we'll, you can see that then 20 MA, you want to see this thing kind of sloping back up, and then and then the move, the price action started kind of riding this as a wave, kind of a surfing, how surfers do. You can see how it rides these moving average. It goes up, comes down, hit it, goes up, comes down, hit it, and it goes back up. So as long as it stays above it, the sentiment is bullish. But when we're below it, that's why we're seeing last 4 days of these pops to the upside, and then quickly sellers come in and then sell, bring this price back down. So we're it's pretty same sentiment here on the Dow, that we are kind of sandwiched between these two levels here. I think on the Dow though, if we do lose this level, we have, let's see, just kind of give you, we have this level right here, this gap level. A lot of times when gap gets filled, it becomes what I call gap support. So if we do lose this level, then 17,900 level would be a next level of support to watch. But again, it's I think it's pretty much 50-50 at this point. So I would really closely watch these two price action on the Dow Jones, and then kind of pay attention to those 10 and 20 day moving averages and see if they can able to slope back up. If it continues lower though, next level support average 17,900 level that I just mentioned, and that's the level I'll watch. Let's go Nasdaq Composite, and then we'll look at a Russell today. Nasdaq Composite actually is the strongest out of all the indices as far as a price action is concerned. Looking at more of a intermediate term perspective here. Oops, I'm gonna just draw this line here, because we've been talking about how a lot of these like S&P 500 index, Dow Jones Industrial Average, they're kind of hanging out at near this rising uptrend support, right? But you can see, and then we're below the 10-20 MA. We've been talking about that. We've been talking about that we're below the 10-20 MA. Let me get rid of this actually. We've been talking about how Dow Jones Industrial Average and S&P 500 Index, both indices are seeing 10 EMA and 20 EMA sloping down. But the Nasdaq Composite, what we're seeing is we're actually seeing the price is staying above this level. Isn't that interesting? So we have a little bit of mixed signal here in the minor term perspective. Currently, this gap was filled. Remember what I talked about, once the gap gets filled, it becomes instant resistance, and that's what we're seeing here last few days. You can see the Nasdaq buyers attempted to break out, but just was not able to get above these short-term sellers that was looming around in that vicinity. Came down, tried back today, and then came back down again. So current resistance on the Nasdaq is 5,200, 59 level here. That's the again, that's a gap resistance level, and that's the level to watch. Again, if we break above that, obviously the next level will be 52.82. But keep in mind though, we are staying above 10-20 MA. So actually on the Nasdaq, benefit of the Dow goes to buyers in the minor term, and we also see that daily 50 MA right here, the pink dotted line, is also sloping upwards. This is a different sentiment than S&P 500 index, because S&P, what we have going on is we have that 50 MA sloping down, 10 MA coming down, and 20 MA. And these 10 and 20 is pretty much a waterfall, right? But on the Nasdaq Composite, what we're seeing is we're seeing the 10 and 20 sloping upwards, and 50 MA really never curled down at all. We had a little bit of flattening out action here, but we're seeing that that's sloping upwards. That's a great sign. That is a good news for the buyers here. Again, I can actually even put this support here. So if this thing pulls back, that's kind of the level watch. We may get stuck here for a little bit. If this thing continues come down to the downside, then I'll definitely watch this level to watch. And obviously, you know, I'll continue to watch that 10-20 MA as long as we kind of stay above it. Because right now what's happening is we are seeing short-term buyers and sellers at war. We have sellers hanging around in that vicinity, right? That's the sellers area, and we got the buyers residing in this vicinity. So this is what's going on, is that we're buying and selling, every time price gets up, sellers come in, but every time price gets down, the buyers come in. So until we see some kind of resolution, we'll probably stay there for a while. A lot of times what could happen is, though, it could get sandwiched between that level for a while, for like a week or two or something like that, and then it will just kind of go back and forth, and then finally it hits that uptrend support, and then it will make its decision. Either it's gonna go up or higher. That could be a potential scenario. Looking at the Nasdaq there, obviously Nasdaq looks bullish in a big picture, and same with all the indices, right? We cleared this resistance there. We got higher lows, higher highs. We are resuming back up to its primary, the uptrend. You know, obviously we had this great run, right? Since 2011 correction, we had a great run and another correction, and then there could be a good chance that these indices will make another great run to the upside. Again, there are plenty of videos that explain that on my other videos, so go ahead and watch it. Lastly, we'll go to Russell, and I'll close the video with this. I promise I won't take too long with the Russell here. Russell 2000. You know, it's almost like S&P 500 index and the Dow is kind of giving us that minor term bearish sentiment, and the Nasdaq giving us minor term bullish sentiment. Russell is actually giving us kind of a neutral sentiment in the minor term. Why? Because you can see 50 MA is actually flattening to rising now a little bit. We're slightly rising on that 50 MA, and you can see on the Russell, we are not seeing that waterfall like action on, you know, like S&P and Dow, but really Russell is kind of hanging out here a little bit, starting to flattening out. Remember what I talked about 10 and 20 MA? You can see the Russell yesterday and today attempted to break out to the upside above that 10-20. Remember what I talked about? This is a recent resistance, right? Every time when there's an attempt for breakout, there's always a struggle, right? And it's like that in life also, not just in stock market, in life. I mean, when there's a breakout in your life, and let's say you're I don't know why I'm getting into this, but let's say you want to, you want to do a fasting for a day. You really haven't done it, but you want to do a fast every Sunday. Fasting meaning, I'm sure everybody knows, but you're not going to eat anything, just water. And you know, in the morning you're okay, like lunchtime you're still okay, you're doing pretty good, morning and lunch. And then get into dinner time, you're really, really struggling. You're really, really struggling to not eat. You're just really struggling. You're just right there. It's just, you just gotta go to sleep. And then Monday morning, you're like, yes, you've done it. There's a breakthrough. You fasted on Sunday all day, but you're asleep. You're trying to go to sleep. You just can't. You're struggling. Oh, should I go eat something? Oh my God, I'm in pain. Kind of like that in the market where Russell 2000 it decided it's gonna bounce at that 50 MA and it's gonna get above that 10-20 MA. This is 20 MA, 10 MA, and then finally we're right there. We just need to get above it, and then just struggling here. You see, that's knowledge there. So that's kind of what we're seeing here on the Russell. We're just struggling to stay above that 10-20 MA. And keep in mind, if this thing does fall over, then you will see that 10 and 20 MA start to sloping down. The sentiment will turn bearish pretty quickly in the minor term. We do have these tails here. Kind of looks like some sort of shooting star type of candle. But at this point, we wouldn't know how to deal with it. Just because there's a shooting star doesn't mean it's going to pull it. Remember last time, this is a shooting star candle also, but then obviously, this thing gapped up, continue higher. But this time, we're staying above the 10 MA. So you see the sentiment, even though we threw a shooting star, but it was above the 10 MA. Remember what I said, when the price action stays above 10 MA, benefit of the Dow goes to buyers in the minor term. And obviously next day you can see we gapped up in a huge bullish day. But difference here though is that if this shooting star would have formed above 10 EMA, I think then I could say, hey, maybe we have something similar coming up. But we are actually happening below 10 and 20 EMA. So I think the sentiment here is a little bit more bearish than over here. Okay, so 1235 is a level to watch. These wicks telling us that there are sellers hanging around here. And if we lose that level, definitely, then we'll probably can come back to about 1211 level. If we start to see weakness here, then 10 and 20 may start to fall over, and then price will come back down, and then we'll come back to retest at 1211 level. And at that point, you would want to see if there's going to be some kind of a double bottom type of action. I mean, it could go up and go up like that, and that would be a great reversal. And once we clear that 1235 after double bottom, then there's a good chance we'll get up to about 1274. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see how it plays out next couple of days. Let's see if buyers can come in on the Russell and bring this back above 1235 and close above it. And if you can stay above it, then you will see this 10 and 20 MA kind of really hugging this thing, and just the price action can really surf it up. And the next level of, I think, if we do get above, there's actually right here, there's actually a little gap. So that 1258 will be a next resistance to watch. If this thing gets up, then you would want to see this thing. This thing will probably get up to about 1258 about a week or so. But if this thing comes down, then it'll be obviously 1211 to watch. And 50 MA still kind of sloping, kind of flattening to sloping type of action there. So I think we'll need more data to see how this thing is going to play out. A little bit of vulnerable and kind of a skittish action there from the buyers in the minor terms. So have a great night. That's what I have for you guys tonight. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave comments below. Again, I do tweet out charts and analysis. Just quick analysis in between these videos or my articles on stock tweets and Twitter. So make sure to follow me there. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next market update. On the next market update.